overseas more than 100 million karate practitioners in the world.
So you have been practicing karate for more than 60 years, and are you a part of karate association in Okinawa or in the world?
So, when I started karate, I was a member of our, National Karate Association in Canada. And as I became older and started competition karate, I became part of what they call FAJCO, Federation of All Japan Karate Organization. And then FAJCO changed in the 80s to WUKO, World Union Karate Organization. And then this organization again changed to World Karate Federation, which is the one now. And the president is in Spain, Madrid. The president is Antonio Espinosa. He's a World Karate Federation and a friend of mine. And he's oversees more than 100 million karate practitioners in the world. Yeah, wow. Now, each country under the umbrella of World Karate Federation have their own groups. For example, Canada, they have the Canada Karate Association, headed by the president. And then, in America, they have a AAU and United States Karate Federation, and they are under the umbrella of the World Karate Federation. The Pan American Karate, every European, so on. In Japan, we also have the National Karate Association and its umbrella group. And here in Okinawa, which is the island birthplace of karate, there's a mind, the two sides of the mind. One side is for the sporting part of karate, which is a World Karate Federation. Sure. But there's another part that says, no. We're not this is not about sport. For us, this is a part of our culture. It's a part of our heritage. It's a cultural heritage of the Okinawan people. So in the beginning, there's no organization in Okinawa. There is just karate, and it's a secret. And then as it evolved, many things happened. And those of you who are actively involved in the art or the sport, you will confirm what I'm saying. And for those of you who might be sitting on the top, perhaps even as part of the administrative groups that oversee karate in this prefecture, I hope it perhaps offers even a scintilla of difference from a historical point of view. So the Meiji Restoration was in 1867, and I'm sure most people know what led up to that and what happened during the time. But here in Okinawa, they did not make a change in 1868. What happened was, in those days it was called Kagoshima, Kyushu is Kagoshima, and Kagoshima took responsibility for Okinawa. Because Kagoshima in those days was the new Satsuma. And the Satsuma, who were on the losing end of a battle in Sekigahara in 1600, would control Okinawa ever since April of 1609. But for these next 300 years, Satsuma literally used the Ryukyu Kingdom and the wealth it obtained from dealing with the Middle Kingdom and Southeast Asia and Korea to help finance not just Satsuma, but for Satsuma to pay back the debt because of losing their part of the war to the Tokugawa government. So in the Meiji period, when Kagoshima and the Mombusho and the Ministry of Education started to oversee the redevelopment of Okinawa, a lot of terrible things happened here which a lot of people don't know about, which would borderline genocide mentality. So in between 1868 and 1879, this is an 11-year period of time, we call that here in Okinawa Hai Hanchiken. And Hai Hanchiken means the abolition of the Ryukyu Kingdom, the abdication of Shotai-o, and the development of Okinawa as a prefecture, as an independent prefecture to the Japanese mainland. And so because of this, there was a lot of turmoil here. So in Japanese culture, they have a word called sabetsu. And sabetsu means discrimination. It means discrimination. But in this case, the discrimination was against three people in the Japanese culture. One was the Indians to the north. They're called Ainu. The other one is called the Korean people, who were brought to Japan on two separate occasions by Toyotomi Hideyoshi in his bid to strengthen his wealth and position after the death of his adopted father, Oda Nobunaga, and before the Tokugawa kingdom. Of course, he failed at that. He didn't bring back any wealth, but he brought back a lot of Koreans. And even 500 years later, those Korean people who put their life on the line, forget about the comfort women and everything, they've never been honored again. And they were heavily discriminated against. And the third group of people who were discriminated against were Okinawan people. And so when Japan was, I want to throw your mind back to the Tom Cruise movie, Last Samurai. Do you remember Tom Cruise, along with other foreign people, were being brought into Japan to teach the Japanese about commerce and industry, military warfare, battlefield tactical strategies, and sports and music and entertainment? That 50-year period of time, from the Meiji period and the Taisho period and the early Showa period, was an enormous era of growth. And in that period of time, there was a German doctor whose name was Erwin von Beelitz, and he became the professor of medicine at Tokyo University. The emperor on that era, in the Taisho period, was a very sickly man. He didn't live a very long life. He's the father of Hirohito, by the way, the wartime emperor. And what happened was, the German physician, doctor, was petitioned to be the doctor for the emperor. And during these period of time, there was what we refer to now and historically as Japan was in the middle of a radical period of military escalation. It had taken Formosa, Taiwan, in 1894-95. It had the Russian-Japanese Sino-Japanese War, 1904-1905. It had played a part in the Boxers' Rebellion in 1900. So there were a lot of activities going on. And because Japan had been successful, their military became very proud, very nationalistic. But like in the Tom Cruise movie, he was having a problem. They couldn't even shoot him. So the German said to the Japanese military, "You have no samurai force anymore. Now you are educating common people to do uncommon things." What we do in Germany was we put into the school system wrestling and swordsmanship to develop strength and a fighting spirit. So by the time our German young men graduate from school, they're healthy and strong with a fighting spirit. So isn't it interesting? Around that time, the 1890s and that, Kano Jigoro sensei, the founder of judo, had reinterpreted the old schools of Japanese wrestling, which are referred to as jujutsu. And he modified the practice of old school jujutsu and created a new version of it, and he called it judo. And it was introduced into the school system as a compulsory practice. And also guys like Nakayama Hakudo and Takano Sasaburo, Nakayama Hakudo, these were guys who were very famous, like Saigo Takamori, were famous with the sword. And they redefined the use of a sword into 4 strikes. Tsuki, men, kote, defang the snake, cut the hand off so they can't hold the sword, and do. And then they put the yoroi on and they fight. And they put it into the school system. And it was a wonderful mechanism to focus on physical fitness and social conformity. So here in Okinawa, in the high Hanshi Ken, you remember the gentry, the aristocrats, they have no more government money, and their education was to work for the Ryukyu kingdom. But now there's no more kingdom. And common people and them, they're the same. So one guy, his name is Itosu Anko. Ito's uncle from Shuri Gibo. He worked for the Shotayon. He got an idea. We can do here what the Yamato did on the mainland. The Yamato Naichi, there's a kendo and judo. Here in Okinawa, we can take a karate and we can bring karate together and modify the practice, make it simpler. You know, we don't need the nagewaza, they got it in judo. We don't need the sword because we don't need the koburo because they got that sword. So we don't need the nage, we just need the tsukiwaza and the kiriwaza. So they modified the practice and do 5 little tiny routines. And they call the routines pinnan kata. And they put it into Shihan Gakko in Shuri. And the Shihan Gakko in Shuri had the teacher Hanashiro Chomo, Gusukumi Shimpan, Tokura Ambun, Oshiro Chojo. These guys became the Shihan to teach karate after Heihan Shiken in Shihan Gakko. And in October 1908, 10 lessons. One of the lessons he said to the Monbusho, Ministry of Education, the Dai Nippon Butokukai, which was the martial art organization in the mainland, and to the governor here of for Kagoshima, was, don't forget our victory. He's talking about the British strength of the military. Our victory today was gained on the playground of Eton. And what he meant to say was, if you put karate into the school system today, you will build the warriors of tomorrow. And in building the warriors of tomorrow, who will use their hands and feet like spears and daggers, we will overcome the enemy. And so karate was officially put into the school system here. So, sorry. I'm coming back. He asked me a question about, am I part of an organization? And I don't mean to say I'm dancing around that answer, but if I simply just give you a straight answer, I'm afraid that you'll go, oh, what does he know? So one of the beautiful things about studying the history and anthropology of this cultural heritage is you understand where it came from, what forces affected its growth and direction, and why it is the way it is today. So many of us, old guys like me, who love the sport, I grew up on the sport, love it, big supporter, but it's not the art. It's not the art. I don't mean to say it's better or worse. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's a completely different thing. Right. Karate, like all other Budo, can be at least 5 things. It can be a sport, highly challenging competitive sport with rules and regulations. It can be a form of physical fitness. It can be a lifestyle. You know, this, in my best Mandalorian, this is the way. It can be an industry, you know, like which is a big industry here in Okinawa. It's karate tourism, of course. You know, but at the nucleus, the origins, onkochisin, of what gave birth to this tradition is self-protection. Right. So I'm interested in the original version, a pathway through self-protection, maybe towards self-perfection. I don't that's ever happened. I believe in the I don't believe in the self-perfection thing. I like the wabi-sabi concept instead. Wabi-sabi is best described in Japanese culture like this cup. If the cup got broken, rather than to throw it away and get a new cup, they fix the broken cup with a gold, you know? They melt the gold and they fix the cup like, you know, like glue. And what the cup represents, metaphorically speaking, is perfectly imperfect. We are all broken. All of us, we're all broken. Come on, nobody, we are broken people. But that's how the light gets in, is through the cracks, right? If you let it. And for me, Budo, of which karate is an integral part, is one of the pathways toward accepting that we are perfectly
Perfect.
imperfect. As I was growing up through the fighting arts and learning more about how to become a teacher, because doing is not the same as teaching, I needed to learn a new set of practices. The outcomes were differently, so the assessment criteria had to be different, and I had to learn that. So my attention was drawn toward one of the oldest martial art organizations in the country. We call it Dai Nippon Butoku Kai. So Dai Nippon Butoku Kai was born in 1895 in Kyoto by the Meiji government. And it served as the hub, the mecca of all Budo, all martial arts in Japan. And then in 1911, it created a new wing. They call it the Dai Nippon Butoku Kai Bujutsu Senmon Gakko. And nickname is Busen. And I was lucky because my teacher was a graduate of this school, one of my teachers, right? And he was the person who introduced me to the Bunburyodo part of balancing the physical with the non-physical. So I became part of that organization. And that organization continues to exist today, but it exists outside the realm of the umbrella, you see? And if you ask somebody maybe in the sporting umbrella, do you know the dynamo? They have no idea who you're talking about. If you ask somebody inside the Butoku Kai, do you know about, they all know about this. So our job is to know about as much as we can. Whereas in this side, it tends to be very secular, you know? I'm only interested in the sport. So if I became part of this organization, if I'm part of this organization, I cannot be part of the other organization, you see? Or if I'm part of this organization, but I'm doing something over here that might be contrary to this organization, kind of murahachibu. So I remain apolitical. It's not that I do or do not support them. I support everybody. A guy asked, I did an interview a few weeks ago with a Spanish Korean magazine. And at that table, the guy was smoking the cigarettes. Okay, I don't smoke, but if you smoke, it's none of my business, right? I don't smoke, I smoke. But anyway, he said, he goes, oh, sir, I'm sorry. Are you anti-smoking? And I went, no, I'm not anti-smoking, but I am pro-fresh air. Okay, I'm so sorry, you know. So I'm not for or against organizations. I'm just pro-freedom. I don't want someone's learning potential to be impeded because that organization says it's no good. I don't want someone who I'm responsible for influencing in my field of influence. I don't call them students. I call them us, learners. We are all learners. I want anyone who's within my field of learning to understand that the job of all educators shouldn't be to say, this is what you should learn and this is what you should not learn. It's to open the mind to understand the value of what learning represents. Why should you only learn this and not that? And who's to say you shouldn't learn that? And if it's about self-protection, I only know this if you say, when he attacks you like this, I think of Jim Carrey. Nobody attacks you like that. And they don't wait there while you go through some ridiculous set of ritualesque movements. It's so this overly ritualized practice that might be widely accepted somewhere is not one that I would be interested in promoting if you're seeking to defend yourself in the parking lot at 10 o'clock at night outside of some watering hole, you know. And wait, the referee is going to break us up or something. No. I want to know that the acts of physical violence that you are exempling in your training look the same and are just as voracious in practice. With, of course, a safety factor attached to how you bring your level of training up to the point where you can effectively negotiate that which there is to do.
So I think some of the people watching this, they are interested in the culture of Okinawa. Do you have any message for people watching this video?
So obviously, if you're already here in Okinawa, I don't need to tell you anything you don't already know. For those of you who might be thinking about coming here, and not just for karate, but for any cultural related activity, or the study of its history or heritage, or you just want to get away to somewhere that's friendly and has great food and fantastic sightseeing, and that is still relatively inexpensive. Right. I mean, the economy here is good, and your money travels a long distance here, especially from the States and Europe and Canada and so on. So don't be afraid to come. Don't worry about learning if you can or cannot speak Japanese. Here's really a fascinating thing. For example, okay, so I'm a Canadian, so, and I grew up, of course, speaking bonjour, comment ça va aujourd'hui, France. You know, but for example, when I would go to France to teach, and I would start my morning class, I would say something like, bonjour, mes amis, comment ça va aujourd'hui? Okay, regardez ici, s'il vous plaît, répétez-moi, which is just, hi, good morning, everybody, how are you? Watch here and repeat after me. I'd always get somebody going. And I would say in Japanese, sorry, n'est-ce pas? You know, what's up? And he goes, and they would say, what's that you're speaking? It's French. He goes, that's not French we know, you know. Yeah. So, but here, even if you just know only a few words, or you don't know any words, I don't know a culture that's any friendlier anywhere in the world than here. But even more so, like the mainland, the Japanese are very friendly. But Okinawa, you stretch that even further. You know, if you looked at somebody who you didn't know for maybe more than a few seconds, there was, a feeling of being uncomfortable. Maybe unless you're in a nightclub or something, then it was, hi, how are you? Or it was, you were greeted with some type of, aggressive, what are you looking at? Here, it's a complete opposite. You're looking at somebody staring at you, you go, oh, hello. And next thing you know, you're having this 45-minute conversation with a total stranger, which is winding up going to lunch or going out to sing karaoke or something like that. They're just so friendly, and not for anything in return, So there's that. The historical stuff. We have friends up at OISC. It's a special kind of Harvard entry-level tertiary level institution here that studies everything. And there's some friends up there who are into marine biology, and so if you're into studying anything of water, these waters around our island are really special as well. Or as I say, anything about music, sanshin, folk culture, spiritualism. It's a great place to be. It's inexpensive. They're so friendly. I think most countries, I don't even think you need a visa to come here for 90 days, 3 months. And then while you're here, you can find out if you wanted to stay for like a homestay program or, we have the Asato Dojo in Naha, and we have what we call an Uchideshi Program, which is for foreign people who want to come to Okinawa to, live either in the dojo or, beside the dojo, and take on the responsibilities of, cleaning and learning under the master, so to speak. We have that available as well. Or if there are cultural events taking place here, we have the Uchinanshu Festival, we have Karate Day, we have a lot of things going on here where people fly in from other countries just to participate in the activity and then go back home. So there's so many reasons to come and even more reasons to stay. So anyway, I hope you might consider coming to Okinawa, and I wish you the very best of luck if you do.
Right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching.
Behind the camera.
If you want to come
click
to
the
Okinawa,
like button.
click the like button.
Many times.
Many times. See
Bye-bye.
you next time. Bye bye.